Welcome back to Speaking of. I'm Kate, and this is Jared, and I want you to imagine us sitting in a car in his grandparents' driveway about to embark on a road trip to St. George.
Yes.
At which point your grandfather says...
Well, first I have to preface this for just a little bit. So my grandfather, my grandpa...
I guess grandpa.
...was very concerned and... about me getting married, and that I was going to live a sad and lonely life. To the point that he once said to me, well, you're not getting any younger, and your looks are starting to go.
Thanks, Grandpa.
Now, you have to keep in mind, my grandpa could say that. He was like me and could pull something off like that where you just kind of laugh. Ha 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 ha.
Thanks.
He was also very concerned about the hair loss that... eventually happened,
wow.
Let's face it. And that's probably one of his regrets when he passed away, was that he never saw me with anyone.
Except for me that day on the driveway.
So we're getting ready to leave, and he looks at me and says...
Well, first he said to us, don't go too fast.
Yes, he says, don't go too fast, because he's always concerned about us driving, and me in particular, because he's driven with me before.
But wasn't I driving?
You were driving, but so...
Guilt by association. So
yeah.
What did I say to him? I said, don't worry, I make it a rule to never go faster than a horse and buggy can carry me.
To which my grandpa thought was hilarious, because it was.
Hello.
And he had a very good sense of humor. And his response is, well, what about this one? She's funny. She seems like a keeper. To which...
Oh, I'm a keeper, all right.
Yeah.
If only he could get rid of me.
It's been a long time. To which I cut him off, and I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know if I can keep up with this one. I couldn't get in the car fast enough. Drive, Kate, drive!
I mean, we've done getaways from stalking missions slower than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he probably was concerned about how quickly we departed after that.
Good times.
But yes. So yeah, that was...
Yeah. Speaking of stalking missions.
Oh,
Well, remember the time when we stalked an old girlfriend of yours?
Oh, yeah.
We knew that she was going to be at some bowling alley or something, right?
Pool hall.
Pool hall. 'Cause she's that kind of girl. Anyway. The stories we could tell about those kinds of girls. So, you had a poem.
I had a
poem. That was from what? Buffy?
That was from Buffy. Because what else would it be from?
Right. And it was all about what? Death and dismemberment or...
Let's see if I can remember it. It was... Wow. It had to be, for those of you that are Buffy fans, it was the Gentleman episode. And there was this old children's tale that prophesied when the gentlemen were going to come, and it was...
Like the G-Men.
Can't even shout, can't even cry. The gentlemen are coming by, looking in windows, knocking on doors.
Yeah.
They need to take 7 and they might take yours. Can't call the mom, can't say a word. You're gonna die screaming, but you won't be heard! I remembered it!
I cannot believe you remembered all of that.
Once it started coming.
Wow. And yet he can't remember what I told him 2 days ago.
It's true.
Whatever. My favorite part about dropping off that note was that we accompanied that note with a handful of dead daffodils from my yard. Because it was that time of year.
It was. And so we went up, and I left the poem and the daffodils
in the windshield
wiper. But what we didn't know was that we were being observed from the inside the entire time.
The best part being that you were with me,
right,
doing this, because
right.
I'm sure I was her favorite person.
You're all of my ex's favorite person.
Likewise.
And if you can't tell by that laugh, that means not so much. So she sees us, and luckily she was with some other co-workers of ours that also knew me.
Oh, good.
And she's like, what's Jared doing out there? And it looks like Kate's with him. And so, what I think is funny is nobody got out to, like, come and get us.
They're not at all concerned about what we're doing to the car.
Yeah, you know, nobody's like, maybe we should call the police. No, I mean, you know, it's one of those situations. So we leave, and she goes out, and picks these up, and turns, you know, and reads this poem, and turns to these other people, and they're like, well, she's like, what should I do? You know, she didn't know what to do. And so one of the guys looks at her and says, well, it's Jared, and I think you should just be flattered.
That is not at all what we were going for.
Well, and to make this story worse, I broke up with her. I had no reason.
Other than it was fun.
Yeah, and that was pretty much it. Well, wasn't it
that she had been, like, bragging about going there or something?
She'd been bragging about going there, and I think she had gotten a little... And, you know, when you're the dumpy, you do get a little resentful, and I think she'd been a little... It's true. You get a little lippy. It's not entirely true. Lippy. Whereas we're just always lippy. You deserve to be, but I apparently felt the need to nip that in the bud or something. I'm not sure what the motives were for that.
Honestly, I kind of feel sad that we were seen, because how much better would the reaction have been had she not known the source?
It's true, because there was no... You never sign your name on a stalking note. People, excuse me.
No, and if you do, it's like the little kids when they vandalize their own homes, right? So I go to my brother's house and my niece's name is written clearly in crayon on the back of the sofa. Like, learn to write your sister's name. I'm just saying.
You gotta love little kids.
Speaking of little kids.
Oh no.
I have to share this story.
Okay, you gotta be quick.
Okay, I'll be quick. So we're at my parents' house last weekend, I think it was. Anyway, the whole family's there. All the nieces and nephews are running around, and there's a billion of them, so it's crazy. So
billion.
Billion.
Apparently your family breeds like rabbits. Sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, so the kids are all running around, and they've got this thing going on. So suddenly my niece comes in. She's 8.
Right.
She walks right up to her mother and just matter-of-factly says, "Mom, can I have a gun? I want to shoot someone." I was so proud. No, I couldn't contain myself. I started laughing. My poor sister-in-law was like,
how old is this child?
I said she's 8.
Oh, okay.
I told you, he doesn't listen.
It's so ADD.
It's something. So, yeah, so her poor mother starts laughing, and she says to me, I was going to keep it together, but then you start laughing. I'm like, I'm sorry. But she comes up to you. I need a gun. I'd like to shoot someone.
Did she specify? Like...
No, well, apparently all the kids had their little toy guns that they were shooting each other with.
Okay.
So, you know, there's that. Of course, I saved that detail for last, but still, nonetheless, it was awesome.
Wow.
These are the times when I'm very proud of my nieces and nephews. Tell me I raised them right. It's just the right kind of influence. You're welcome.
On that note, we're going to wrap up this episode. This has been Speaking Of. I'm Jared.
I'm Kate.
See you next time.